I thought it was pretty startling. Last year, the Surgeon General had issued a state of emergency for child and adolescent mental health, which naive me, I thought state of emergency, isn't that for hurricanes and floods and things like that? But the Surgeon General got involved and said, to quote him, while social media may offer some benefits, there are ample indicators that social media can pose a risk or harm to the mental health and well-being of children and adolescents. What did you make of the Surgeon General issuing an advisory? It seemed, well, maybe I'm wrong. Did it seem too extreme for the Surgeon General to get involved?
For me and for people in my role who are really watching these trends and looking at the impact, it was like, thank goodness already. I had been waiting for something like that, so that when I talk to parents and schools, and I can now say, look, last May the Surgeon General put out an advisory. We're not making this stuff up. And I think there's growing evidence from the leading researchers that really prompted the Surgeon General to put out that advisory. And look, if we look at our own kids and our own habits, we know how powerful technology is. And we know that it is changing the way our brains work. It's changing our behaviors. And for our children and teens, they're the most vulnerable. Their brains are still developing. And so we're exposing them to technologies on an ongoing basis that are definitely having an impact on them. And the other trend is the kids are getting access to technology younger and younger and younger. And it's not just screens in
Mhm.
general. We know that it's social media in particular that really starts to prey upon a lot of the natural desires that children and adolescents have. So for example, we all know and we remember, when you're a preteen and a teen, you start really caring about what your peers think. And that has a
Mhm.
function in terms of our psychological development. We're starting to look outside the family unit to see where we fit in. Who do we like? Who do we want to be? What are our own values? How do we identify? And this is a healthy function of our psychological development, so that by the time we are ready to leave the home, we have a sense of who we are and who we want to be around.
Mhm.
But that desire for an adolescent to look outside and look at their peers and ask for feedback, when you put them on social media, now you're giving them doses of social feedback hundreds or thousands of times per day. That's
Mhm.
not what the brain was really evolved to take on, right? And so that's in part why we're seeing this really stressful result, and the increase in that feeling of anxiety.